The wind howled like a beast across the sands of Kreth-4. It was not an ordinary storm. It was the kind that ripped metal roofs from houses and buried entire ships in minutes. The orange dust turned the sky red. Even the desert creatures had vanished into their holes. No one was outside, except something moved. From the watchtower above the HFY settlement, young Scout Ferric adjusted his visor. His forefingers tapped the side of the screen, scanning through heat signatures. Nothing. Nothing. Then blip. A heat signal. Humanoid. Walking. No protective gear. That was suicide in this weather. Ferric called the commander. There's something out there, said. Probably a ghost signal. The storm scrambles sensors. No, sir. This is moving straight toward us. The commander came up quickly, his long gray robes dragging sand as he climbed. He looked through the scope, his eyes narrowed. That's not a ghost, he said. That's a person. The figure stumbled through the sand, step by slow step. His body was covered in burns and blood. His armor was torn, but the piece that remained showed a strange logo one no one had seen before. A triangle with sharp wings and earth letters. HSC Revenant to HFY guards ran out into the storm with protective suits. They carried the figure in, half buried under dust and heat. The medics took one look and pulled him into surgery. He's human, the chief medic whispered. Impossible, said another. Humans are myths. Old war legends. Then we just saved a myth. When the human woke up, it was night. The storm had passed. He lay in a cool room made of stone and light glass. Young HFY nurse watched over him. He opened one eye, then both. His voice was low, dry. Where? Am I your safe? You were found in the storm. He sat up too fast, groaned, and held his ribs. But his eyes were sharp. You shouldn't have helped me. The nurse stepped back. Why? He looked at the door. Because they'll come now. In the command room, the leaders of the settlement argued. Humans are dangerous. This one was nearly dead. The Empire will punish us if they find out. Commander Yarrick raised a hand. Enough. He was walking in a death storm. No gear, no help. And he carried a signal beacon embedded in his arm. Who does that, unless they expect someone to find them? They looked at each other confused and worried. Ya, Rik continued. He is not just a lost traveler. He is a message. Later that night, Ferric sat beside the human's bed. Why were you out there? He asked. What happened to your ship? The human didn't speak for a long time. Then softly he said, We were ambushed. By who? The human looked up. Not who. What? Ferric blinked. What does that mean? The human shifted and showed the small device glowing on his arm. It's not just a signal, it's a key. To what? The human looked out the window. Stars were clear now, peaceful. To them, he said, to the ones who come when one of us goes missing. The next morning, the sensor tower buzzed. Commander, a voice yelled. Shortwave burst from the mountains in known frequency. Yarrick rushed to the screen. What kind of signal? Encoded. Very old. Very fast. It went straight into orbit. To who? No one answered. The room was silent. Then the human's voice came from the door behind them. They heard it, he said. Ya. Rik turned. Who did? The human stepped forward, standing straighter now. My people. In the markets of the HFY city, traders laughed and talked. Children played in the dust. No one knew what had just happened above their heads, but Ferric did. He stood on the tower again, watching the stars. He remembered the way the human had looked, calm, quiet, but full of something dangerous. Something hidden. Ferric whispered to himself, why would a whole army come? For one man, and above them, deep in space, a small human warship moved into position, silent, invisible, and waiting. The signal had been heard, and the sky would not stay empty for long. The human didn't speak much after that. He stayed inside the medical dome, eating little, watching everything. The HFY doctors noticed strange things. His wounds healed faster than expected. His body temperature was a little too low. and when he closed his eyes, the machines in the room flickered. One night, Nurse Kalari tried to scan the device in his arm. She shouldn't have. The moment her scanner touched the edge of the metal, a flash of blue light filled the room. The power shut down, screens glitched, lights buzzed. The human's eyes opened immediately. "Don't do that again," he said coldly. Kalari backed away, frightened, but something had already started. At the same time, deep in the HFY command center, an alert went off. Short-range burst detected, a tech shouted. Unknown signal moving fast. Commander Yarrick hurried over. Source: the medical dome. It shot into orbit, a tight beam pulse, but I've never seen this frequency before. What was it carrying? The tech zoomed in on the data, some kind of code. Heavy encryption, level. Maybe more. Yarrick froze. Is it possible the human sent it? Yes, sir. The timing matches exactly. That evening, Yarrick met with the settlement council. He's a risk, one elder said. He's a ghost, said another. Humans disappeared generations ago. And now, one walks into our storm, bleeding, carrying a war-coded signal in his flesh. That's no accident. Yarrick raised a hand. We must decide, do we hand him over to the Empire? Silence. Finally, Elder Prawn spoke. If we give him up and humans are truly watching, what will they do to us? The human sat alone in the courtyard under the stars. Ferric joined him quietly. I know you're not just some soldier, he said. The human smiled a little. No, I'm not. What's that thing in your arm? The human looked down at the glowing piece of metal. It's a marker. And a message. For who? He didn't answer right away. Then, for the ones who search the stars for our missing, if any of us falls, it sends them a signal. Ferric swallowed hard. So someone's coming? They already are? In orbit, far above Karethfor, something stirred. At first, it looked like a faint shadow behind the moon. But it wasn't a moon rock. It was shaped, sharp, silent, watching. A small drone floated past it, and its systems died instantly. No lights, no signal. The object moved, just a little toward Karethfor. Back on the ground, patrols from the Galactic Empire arrived. Sleek black ships, red lights. Soldiers in bone-gray armor. The captain of the unit walked into the HFY compound. We received word of a downed vessel in this area, he said. Show us the wreckage. Yarrick tried to stay calm. There was nothing but sand. No ship, no survivors. The captain narrowed his eyes. Your sensors detected a life form. No Narakai. Show us your records. We deleted the file. Storm interference corrupted the data. The captain smiled coldly. Lies are dangerous, Commander, especially when the Empire is watching. As the Empire officers searched the settlement, the human hid in an underground tunnel. He listened, watched, said nothing. Then, a small device on his wrist buzzed once. He looked at it. A single word appeared in glowing text. Confirmed. He stood up. They've arrived. In the control tower, Ferric watched the stars. Nothing looked different. But the sky felt strange. The scanners didn't pick up any new signals, but he felt it, like something just outside the edge of their senses. He called the commander. Sir. Show me. Ferric pointed at the blank scanner. There's nothing showing but the signal that came from the human's device. I decoded part of it. Yarrick raised an eyebrow. And it wasn't just a call for help. Then what was it? Ferric took a breath. It was coordinates and a status report, it said. Operative alive. Preparing ground for extraction. Eyes on host world. That night, a strange wind returned to the desert. But this wasn't natural. It was the ripple of something entering orbit. Wyan Wiesel. In the distance, animals began to scream. In the HFY city, power flickered, and in the stars above, new eyes opened. Metal, silent, human, and watching. The next day, everything felt wrong. The sky was clear. The wind had stopped. The heat was normal. But something in the air made the HFY nervous. Birds flew in the wrong directions. Machines glitched. And for the first time in years, the Settlement's long-range scanners went completely silent. Not offline, dash silent. No data, no pings, just black screens. Commander Yarrick frowned at the blinking monitor. "Run a check," said. "We did," the tech replied. "All systems are fine. The sensors are working. There's just nothing coming through, nothing. Not even background static." That had never happened before in the underground shelter. The human sat in the dark watching his wrist device. It blinked once. Then again, then stayed lit. He nodded to himself. There in position, Ferric stood nearby, uneasy. "What happens now?" he asked. The human stood up. "Now we see how loud silence can be." An hour later, a new alert came from the sky. Message not from any known source. It wasn't on Empire channels, not on open trade lines, not even on the old distress networks. It just appeared. On every screen, every display in the settlement flickered. Then went black. Then came the voice. It was human. Cold. Calm. Male. "You interfered. You lied. You hid what was ours." The voice paused. "We are watching." And then nothing. The screens went dark again. No signal trace. No source. Just silence. The Arakai Council panicked. What does that mean? Was that a threat? Are they blaming us? Commander Yarrick stayed quiet. He remembered the human's face. That calm confidence. That deadly stillness. He spoke quietly. That wasn't a warning. That was a promise. The Empire soldiers didn't wait. As soon as the voice ended, they sent a high-priority message to their fleet. Then they moved through. The streets, weapons ready, demanding answers. They stormed the medical dome, but it was empty. The human was gone. One officer shouted, "They're hiding him. Tear this place apart." In the tunnels below, Ferric ran alongside the human. "Where?" "Are we going?" The human answered without slowing. "High ground." "Why?" Turned to Ferric. His eyes burned. "Because they'll want to see what's about to happen." At the top of the western ridge, the view stretched across the city and the open desert. Ferric stood beside the human, heart racing. Below, tiny ships buzzed like insect Empire drones scanning for heat signatures. "They're getting close," Ferric said. The human ignored him. He tapped something into his wrist device. It glowed blue again. Then he spoke into it. Two simple words. "Open eyes." Far above the planet, something moved. The dark shape behind the moon drifted slowly into view. Then another. They were silent. Black ships, no lights, no signals, no flags. But they were massive, each one the size of a city, and all of them were human. Back on the surface, the Empire officer received a warning on his personal device. He opened the file, his pale skin went white. He looked up at the sky. There was nothing visible, until the clouds began to part, and there, above them, hundreds of faint shapes appeared like shadows falling through space. In the command center, alarms screamed. They're not responding to hails. Are they attacking? No weapons. Charged. No movement. But they're everywhere. Commander Yarrick stood frozen, eyes wide. "How many?" The tech turned to him slowly. I lost count at 200. On the ridge, the human watched calmly. Ferric stared, speechless. "You weren't lying," he whispered. "They really came." The human didn't look away. "They always come." "Why?" "For you." I finally turned. "Not just for me. For any of us." In orbit, one of the massive human warships opened a communication channel, but not to the Empire, not to the Arakai, to the world. The same voice returned. Calm, cold, human. It's the ones who offered help. "You are safe. We see you." To the ones who sent hunters, "You are marked. This world has eyes now." Just like that, the transmission ended, but the message had been heard in the Empire outpost. The soldiers began pulling back. One officer whispered to another, "We need to leave. Now." Captain gritted his teeth. "If we leave, the Empire will punish us." "If we stay," the other replied, looking at the sky, "we may not live to be punished." From the ridge, Ferric saw it all. The fear. Silence. The sky full of dark ships, and beside him, humans stood like a shadow of war itself. Ferric asked one last question. "What are you really?" The human smiled slightly. A message. First it looked beautiful. From the ridge where Ferric stood with the human, the sky glowed soft orange as the sun dipped low. The Empire patrols were pulling back. HFY City was silent. Everyone was watching the sky. Then the color changed. Orange turned to deep red. The clouds began to burn. And the stars that were steady for years started to move. Ferric gasped. "What? What is that?" The human answered quietly. "They've opened the fleet." In orbit above Karithfor, hundreds of human ships moved into position. They had stayed dark until now. No lights. No weapons active, no signals. But when the second signal from the surface was sent, everything changed. Ship after ship lit up. Massive engines powered on. Weapon systems activated, and a red glow spread across the planet's sky, like blood spilling across a canvas down below. Commander Yarrick stood in the command tower, speechless. "Are they preparing to attack us?" One officer asked. Rik shook his head slowly. "No, not us." Then he pointed to the scanner. A new signal had entered the system. It was an Empire fleet, bigger than before, moving fast. "Hundreds of ships. They're not retreating," Yarrick whispered. They called for backup. In the HFY streets, families hid in shelters. Soldiers held their breath. Everyone could see the sky was red. Everyone could feel something was coming. The human walked through the city without fear. He looked up calmly as Empire ships broke into the atmosphere. Ferric ran after him. "We need to hide." "No," the human said. "We need to stand still." "Are you crazy? They'll bomb us. They won't get the chance." Up in orbit, the two fleets faced each other. On one side, the Empire, loud, bright, aggressive, full of confidence. On the other side, the humans, silent, shadow black. Watching one Empire captain broadcast on all open channels, "This system belongs to the Empire. Human vessels, stand down or be destroyed." No reply. "You are violating controlled space." Last warning, still nothing. Then, every human ship responded at once. Not with words, but by aiming weapons. All of them. Straight at the Empire fleet inside. One of the Empire flagships, Admiral Velen, screamed orders. "Lock weapons. Fire now. Do not wait." But it was already too late. The sky turned red. The stars blinked. And then the storm came. The first human ship moved like lightning, too fast for scanners to track. It passed straight through the front line of Empire ships and left behind only silence. No fire, no wreckage, just dead ships, powerless, drifting, cut clean through. The second ship released a pulsing energy wave that shut down every weapon system in a 100-kilometer range. The third ship didn't fire at all. It just hovered and watched from the ground. The people of Karithfor watched in awe as lights danced above them. It wasn't a battle. It was an execution. Empire. Ships fell from the sky one by one, silent, burning, crashing in the far desert. No humans were lost. A single one in the command tower. The screen showed the truth. The Empire had lost. In under 5 minutes, Yarrick stared. "I've never seen anything like it." Ferric's voice came from behind. It wasn't a fight. It was a warning. As the last Empire ship tried to escape, a single human warship followed it, just one. It didn't fire. It just appeared beside the fleeing vessel. The Empire ship exploded seconds. Later, no trace of a shot. Back on the ridge, the human turned to Ferric. "That one sent the command to kill me." "You knew?" "I knew the second I saw the symbol on their armor." "Right. So did the fleet." Ferric looked at the sky, still glowing red. "You did all this for one person?" The human looked at him carefully. "No. For every human that ever went missing. For every world that hid the truth." Then he paused. "And for those brave enough to help us." That night, as the red glow faded and stars returned to normal, a new message was sent from the largest human ship. It was short, too. HFY people, you are now under our protection. Your kindness has been noted. Your skies are watched. Next morning, children came out of hiding. Merchants reopened their stalls, and above the city, in the clear morning sky, a single human ship remained. It hovered silently, watching like a guardian, and below, the people of HFY whispered a new name, the Skywatchers. The Empire's fleet was gone. Nothing but smoke and broken metal remained in HFY's orbit. The ground was quiet, the sky darker than usual, but no one celebrated. Not yet, because now they knew what the humans could do. And they also knew this wasn't over. In the HFY Council Hall, leaders argued, "We're safe now. The humans protected us. No, this is worse. Now the Empire will return in full force." "They won't dare," said Ferric. Commander Yarrick looked at him. "How do you know that?" Ferric nodded toward the horizon. "Because the human is still here." The lone human, still known only as the operative, stood quietly at the edge. Of the settlement, he didn't look like a war hero. His body was still healing. His armor was cracked, his eyes tired. But when he looked to the sky, everyone stopped talking. Ferric approached him. "They're going to send more, aren't they?" The human nodded. "Yes, but not like before." "What do you mean?" He turned. "The Empire will send everything they have this time. Their pride's been shattered. They'll want revenge." Ferric swallowed hard. "And what will the humans do?" The operative's eyes darkened. "They'll show the galaxy what no mercy really means." Later that day, scanners picked up something massive, far larger than anything seen before. An Empire super dreadnought. Length, 12 kilometers. Crew, 80,000. Weapons, enough to destroy a continent. It entered the system alone, without a fleet, and sent only one message: return the human, or we turn your cities to ash. Yarrick turned to the operative. "You heard the threat." The human nodded, and he simply raised his wrist. "Watch." In orbit, the Empire dreadnought moved forward slow, powerful, sure of itself. Its weapons charged, shields up, target locked, the HFY capital, but just before it could fire. Shifted again. More human ships arrived, but not hundreds. This time only 3. 3 black warships, silent, cold, identical. But they did not run. They rushed the dreadnought. The Empire ship fired everything. Lasers, missiles, shock bursts. A storm of light-filled space. But the human ships didn't. Dodge. They moved straight through it, dash unharmed. In seconds, they circled the dreadnought. And then they stopped. The Empire commander barked orders. "Lock on to all 3. Fire at will." But the ship's systems froze. The lights flickered. Every screen went dark. Then, in the heart of the bridge, a single message appeared. Execution order. Burn. From the surface of HFY, the HFY watched as the massive dreadnought began. 2 glow, first white, then blue. It didn't explode. It folded, collapsing in on itself like paper. 1 second it was there. The next, nothing. Not even dust. Gone. Silence fell over the command center. Ferric stared at the sky. That wasn't a weapon, was it? "No," the operative said. "That was a command." After the battle, no more Empire ships came. Not 2 KARETH-4, not anywhere near human activity. Rumors spread fast. The Empire's dreadnought was erased, not destroyed, erased. 3 human ships did it without firing a shot. The Empire has no defense against them. In the days that followed HFY, cities returned to life. Trade resumed. Skies cleared. Fear faded, but still 1 human ship remained above the capital, hovering. Watching, waiting, Ferric asked the operative one last question. "Why do they do this? Why risk so much for 1 man?" The human looked up at the silent ship above. "Don't leave our own behind. Ever," and he added quietly. "And when someone helps us, we remember forever." A monument was built at the edge of the desert where the human was first found. It was simple, tall, carved from black stone. At the top were the words, "They helped a lone human." The stars remembered. But in the distant core worlds of the Empire, panic began to spread. Their fleets were pulling back. Worlds were falling silent. Old enemies now refused to speak with them. And above every major world, new ghost signals appeared unknown. Untraceable human eyes, watching, waiting. The warships left as silently as they had come, one by one. The black human vessels disappeared into deep space. No sounds, no farewell, not even a goodbye message. But their presence was not forgotten. In fact, their silence spoke louder than any threat. Across the galaxy, strange things began to happen. On mining stations, old transmitters started glowing with unknown signals. On trade routes, massive ships suddenly turned back without reason. On border worlds, strange shadows moved across sensor screens. Fast, silent, too fast to track at first. People thought it was a coincidence. Then they heard the message. It came in hundreds of languages. On every channel, every screen, every planet, a human voice. Calm, clear, cold. To those who helped us, you are seen. You are safe. To those who hunted us, you are known, and you are not forgotten. We do not seek war, but we do not run from it either. Touch one more of us, and you'll see the stars burn. The message spread fast. Within days, Empire allies began asking questions. Is this real? Are the humans truly back? Can they destroy entire fleets with only 3 ships? No one had answers, but everyone remembered the Dreadnought, the one that vanished in seconds, and everyone remembered KARETH-4 on Kareth 4. Life returned to normal. Mostly, the Arakai people worked in their markets again. Children laughed. Ships landed at the docks. But now, people looked up at the sky more often, wondering, watching. The human was gone. Vanished as quietly as he had come, but a small tower now stood at the center of the city. Not for the human, for the moment. For what? It meant a warning to the galaxy. They came for one. The next time they'll come for all. Ferric stood at the edge of the market one evening, watching a merchant ship take off. Commander Yarrick joined him. "He's really gone?" Yarrick asked. Ferric nodded. No one saw him leave. No one saw his ship, just gone. Yarrick sighed. Denned. The warships. Same. They stood in silence for a moment. Then Ferric said, "Do you think they'll come back?" Yarrick looked at the stars. They never left. In the Empire's high chamber, chaos ruled. The Emperor demanded action. We must respond. We must strike. We are the Empire. But the generals said nothing, because they had seen the footage. They had counted the destroyed ships. They had read the warning, and deep inside, they all felt the same thing for the first time in decades. Fear on Outer Rim planets. Resistance groups replayed the message over and over, not because it was a threat, but because it was hope. If humans could bring the Empire to its knees for one man, what else could they do? And more importantly, what would they do next on a quiet Arakai outpost? Far from the city, a young girl stood on a hill with her father. She pointed at the night sky. "Why does that star blink blue?" The father smiled. "That's not a star, little one. That's one of theirs. Why is it watching us?" "'Cause we watched over one of them." She looked up. "Will it ever stop watching?" The father paused. "No," he said. "And I hope it never does." In the deepest corners of the galaxy, where darkness ruled and tyrants lived without fear, they began building walls, locking their planets, closing their ports, but no wall is high enough, no lock strong enough. Not when the stars themselves remember, because the humans had shown the galaxy one terrible, beautiful truth. They are not many. They are not everywhere. But they are watching, and when one of them falls, the sky answers. The Empire was crumbling, not from war, not from attack, but from silence. Worlds stopped answering their calls. Outposts pulled back their forces, allies left without warning, and everywhere. The same whisper spread. The humans are watching. Inside the Empire's central command chamber, the pressure grew. High generals, admirals, and ministers gathered in secret. One slammed his fist on the table. This is madness. He destroyed a dreadnought and vanished like shadows. Another shouted, and now our colonies ignore orders. Our fleets are afraid to fly near human space. Where even is human space? Someone else asked. They never claim territory. No borders, no rules, no flags, another muttered. Consequences. Across the Empire, fear did what war never could. Officers refused missions near unmarked sectors. Captains faked. Technical failures to avoid patrols. Even seasoned admirals begged to retire early. The mighty Empire, once feared in every system, now walked on eggshells, afraid to touch a single human. And yet the humans said nothing. They sent no more warships. They made no public speeches. They didn't demand land, money, or power. They simply waited and watched. In the shadows, rebellions woke up. On 3 border worlds, banners of the Empire were torn down in the night. On 2 mining planets, prisoners escaped and found human beacons left behind in the dirt. Those who had once felt hopeless now looked to the sky and whispered one word. Soon. Back on Kareth 4, Ferric met with Commander Yarrick again. They stood beside the monument where the human had first been brought after the storm. It's been weeks, Ferric said. But they still remember. Yarrick nodded. So does the Empire. Ferric smiled. Good. Then he looked up. Do you ever wonder where they are now? Yarrick didn't answer, just stared into the stars, knowing something most people were just starting to realize. They're exactly where they need to be. Inside the Empire's throne room, the Emperor finally spoke. Enough fear. Enough waiting. He raised his hand. Summoned the elite fleet. Prepared the storm ships. We will strike human space directly. Show the galaxy we are still in control. But his command went unanswered. No. One moved. The admirals looked down. The guards stood still. One brave general spoke. Quietly, your command means nothing if no one will follow it. The Emperor's face turned pale. He stepped forward. You dare? But then, without warning, the lights in the throne room flickered. The giant screens went black. A single sentence appeared across all displays. This meeting is not approved. The guards froze. The generals backed away. The Emperor screamed, "Find the signal source!" But the text couldn't. There was no source. No trace. No origin. Only that sentence. Glowing, then it disappeared, and silence returned. Outside, across. The galaxy news spread fast. Empire Command was hacked. Their most secure systems breached without effort. They're not even safe in their own chambers. And the people knew this wasn't just fear. This was collapse. Some Empire worlds began declaring independence. Others begged for protection, not from humans, but from the Empire. A few even reached out to the stars with strange messages, too. The Watchers. We helped one of yours once. Please remember us. And in some places, blue beacons lit up in the sky. Quiet, unseen by most, but not by the humans, in hidden places across the galaxy. Human operatives, just like the one on Kareth 4, moved. Silently, they gathered names, listened to whispers, left marks only their kind could read. And where those marks appeared, the Empire lost control. Not to fire, not to fleets, but to fear and memory. The galaxy had changed. Not with a war, not with an invasion, but with a single human who walked into a storm many years past. The galaxy healed slowly. But it was never the same. The Empire didn't fall in one great battle. It broke in pieces quietly, one planet at a time, one officer walking away, one fleet refusing orders, one leader resigning in silence. No new war ever came, because the humans didn't need war. They only needed memory on Kareth 4. Peace had returned. The skies were clear. Trade ships flew safely through the stars. Children ran through the markets again, laughing. But every Arakai still remembered the day the sky turned red, and every year. On that same day, the city held a quiet festival. No loud music. No fireworks, just lights blue, lights placed on rooftops and windows. On every hill they called it, the Day of the Watchers. Farrak had grown older. He now stood where Commander Yarrick once stood, leading the city's defense force. But there hadn't been a single attack in years, not since the human left. He sometimes looked at the night sky and wondered, where was the operative now? Did he even survive the wars humanity never spoke of? Did they ever meet again? Then he always answered himself, he doesn't need to return, because they never left. On a hill above the city, the monument still stood, the same black stone, the same carved words, they helped a lone human, and the stars remembered. At the base, visitors often left small offerings, food, metals, carvings. No one ever touched them. And late at night, some said they saw a shadow standing there silent and still, then gone by morning. A myth, perhaps, but the people believed. Far away, deep in the galaxy's edge, a small Arakai child looked up at the sky. She stood with her grandfather on a quiet farm planet. "Grandpa," she asked, "is it true? You once saw a human?" He smiled, the kind of smile only someone with deep memory can show. Yes, just one, but that was enough. What was he like? He thought for a moment. Quiet, hurt, strong. But more than that, he was never alone, even when he was. Looked confused, but he was by himself, wasn't he? Yes, the old Arakai said softly. But the whole sky came for him. Elsewhere, in deep dark space, forgotten Imperial outpost picked up a signal. Old, weak, almost lost in the noise. The technician paused. "Sir, you should see this." His commander leaned over. "What is it?" The screen glowed blue. One word appeared, "Remember." And then the screen went black dot in hidden places across the galaxy. A new symbol appeared, not on screens, not on channels, but in shadows, on walls, in the edges of ancient ruins. A triangle with sharp wings, and Earth letters beneath it. HSC Revenant 2. Some, it meant fear. To others, hope. To a few, a promise, because the humans never claimed land, never raised banners, never ruled systems. They left no empires behind, only warnings and memories. One final message, spread on the old hidden frequencies. No one knew when it was recorded, no one knew who said it, but it was human, and it said, "We are not gods, we're not saviors, we're not conquerors. But we are watching. We remember every hand that helped us, and every hand that tried to hurt us. We make one promise. If you touch one of ours again, you will see the sky burn." On Kareth 4, a star blinked blue just, once above. The monument, no scanner detected it. No ship was found. Just a soft glow, a quiet reminder that they were still there watching, waiting, remembering.